10-minute deep dive into a book. Today we're reading Educated by American author Tara Westover, a memoir. Tara shares her personal experiences to convey the importance of education to readers. Education within one's family of origin is a hot topic today, and this book might show us a reflection of ourselves. We grow up in our respective families, molded into certain forms. We always think we can break free and reshape ourselves, but once we return to the old environment, we fall back into a depressive cycle. The story takes place on Bucks Peak in Idaho, USA, with the protagonist Tara being the youngest of 6 siblings, with 5 brothers and 1 sister. Tara's father was a devout Mormon and a paranoid with bipolar disorder. He was very opposed to the federal government, believing that schools were tools for government brainwashing of children. So, he made Tara's older siblings drop out of school, and the younger ones never attended school. They didn't even have birth certificates. The children were isolated, working in their father's junkyard from a young age. If they got sick, they weren't allowed to see a doctor, but were taught basic knowledge at home by their mother. Additionally, Tara's father at some point became obsessed with the idea that the end of the world was imminent. They spent every day preparing for survival by stockpiling vast amounts of supplies. In his imagination, after the apocalypse, civilization would be destroyed, but their family, due to their devout faith and thorough preparation, would safely survive this calamity. One day, the whole family was returning to Bucks Peak from their grandmother's house. It was late, and they still had a 12-hour drive ahead. Despite Tara's grandmother and mother urging her father to wait until morning, he insisted on driving back right away to avoid delaying the dismantling of scrap the next morning. The night driver was 17-year-old Tyler, who had been silently driving all night. At 6 a.m., 20 miles south of Bucks Peak in the agricultural town of Cornwall, the exhausted Tyler fell asleep at the wheel. The RV veered off the center line into the oncoming lane, then off the road, jumped a ditch, knocked down 2 large cedar power poles, and finally stopped when it hit a cultivator tractor. The severe impact injured everyone in the car who wasn't wearing seatbelts. The front of the vehicle was crumpled, the engine arched, and the windshield was a web of cracks. Tara's father hurriedly called out to everyone, but even in this situation, he chose not to call an ambulance. The injured didn't see a doctor, and her mother, who was the most seriously hurt, had eyes that were deep purple and swollen to the point of being indistinguishable as open or closed. After the accident, Tyler was filled with guilt. A month later, during a family gathering, Tyler requested to leave. He wanted to go to college. Tyler was the third to leave home. The first was his eldest brother, Tony, who was driving a tractor transporting gravel and scrap and saving money to get married. His second brother, Sean, had a fight with their father a few months earlier and also left home. If Tyler left too, Tara's father wouldn't have enough people for a small work team and wouldn't be able to build barns or sheds for others. He would have to go back to dismantling scrap. Tyler's personality was different from his other rambunctious brothers. He liked peace, reading, organizing, labeling, and sorting. Unlike Tara's other brothers who loved to fight, Tyler preferred music. Once, Tara was caught by Tyler looking at his CDs and thought she would be beaten. But Tyler didn't hit her. Instead, he played music for Tara, which brought some peace to her heart. Not long after, Tyler left anyway. Despite his father's pressure, he didn't give up on his dreams, and eventually became the first in the family to leave the mountains for college. After Tyler left, 15-year-old sister Audrey got her driver's license from the county government and also left home, finding a job flipping burgers. Thus, 10-year-old Tara began learning to dismantle scrap with her father. In the monotony of the scrapyard, Tara occasionally imagined Tyler's school life, until one day, a strange thought flashed through her mind. I should go to school. But because of her father's strong stance, Tara never formally asked her father. Instead, she worked hard to keep up with her studies while dismantling scrap. She often read alone late into the night. Whenever Tara's father saw her reading, he would try to pull her away, hoping to kill her aspirations. Once, while sorting scrap with her father, Tara was seriously injured, with a long gash on her leg from a nail. Tara's father hurried over and said, "How did you manage that?" His tone was sympathetic, yet disappointed, making Tara feel stupid for not being able to handle such a simple task. Her father then took off his flannel shirt, pressed it to Tara's leg, and told her to go home and find her mother to stop the bleeding. Tara hobbled home, crying uncontrollably, not understanding why she was crying, but her body wouldn't stop shaking. This incident further deepened her desire to go to school. Shortly after, because the family was short-handed, Tara's brother Sean was called back by their father to help for a while. Like Tyler, Sean had a significant impact on Tara. He had given her brief, happy memories, but more deep and difficult to heal wounds. Sean was always seen by others as having a violent streak, and Tara's memories of Sean began 2 months after the second car accident. He violently helped Tara fix her injured neck. This time, Sean initially got along well with Tara, which made her lower her guard temporarily. One night, a moody Sean came home, sat next to Tara, who was reading the Bible, and forced her to get him a glass of water, leading to a conflict between them. When Tara handed him the water, she noticed his malicious grin and angrily poured the water over Sean's head. Sean angrily demanded an apology, but Tara refused. Sean grabbed Tara's hair, dragged her to the bathroom, shoved her head into the toilet, and twisted her wrists into a knot. Eventually, unable to withstand the torture, Tara apologized. An hour later, Sean went to her room to beg for forgiveness, but the incident left an indelible shadow on Tara's soul. However, the violence against Tara didn't stop. When Tara put on lipstick for the first time at age 15, Sean insulted her, saying she looked like a prostitute. Seeing Tara in nice clothes interacting with other boys, he dragged her out of the car and down the road. Back home, Sean continued to beat and drag Tara multiple times. Although her mother knew about her suffering, she was powerless to stop her frenzied son and could only cry late at night. As for Tara's father, he chose to remain silent. While Tara was enduring Sean's beatings and torment, her brother Tyler returned. Tyler, like a ray of light, rescued Tara. This time, Tyler's visit planted a seed in Tara's heart. He told her, "The longer you stay at home, the less likely you are to leave." He hoped Tara could escape home and go to Brigham Young University. He told Tara that the outside world looks very different once their father isn't there to instill his views in her ear. Thus, with encouragement from her brother Tyler and her mother, Tara began to self-study. But soon, Sean had an accident while working with their father on a construction site, falling from a high wooden scaffold, causing brain hemorrhage. Sean underwent brain surgery in the hospital, and post-surgery, he was sometimes lucid and sometimes delirious. Initially, Tara felt a sense of relief hearing about her violent brother's injury. But when she saw Sean post-surgery, she felt deep guilt for not going to the hospital immediately to see him. To make amends, Tara quit her job, cared for Sean, and self-studied the math she didn't understand. After failing the first test, Tara finally passed the entrance exam to Brigham Young University on her second attempt. She could go to college, but to Tara's surprise, even though she temporarily escaped her original family, she faced new challenges and pains. Having been isolated from society for 17 years and influenced by her father's long-held religious beliefs and extreme ideas, Tara felt out of place with everything around her. When she first started college, Tara thought her peers' revealing clothes were immoral. She was shocked to see many girls in knee-length skirts, as in her home, wearing lipstick would get you called a prostitute. Having never taken medication, Tara had to overcome a huge mental hurdle just to take a painkiller. Her mother always said that medicine was a special poison that never leaves the body and would slowly corrode it. But after taking the painkillers, Tara gradually realized that they did significantly alleviate her pain. On her first day of class, Tara went to the wrong classroom. Due to a lack of academic foundation, she failed her first exam. Furthermore, Tara struggled to keep up in all her classes, and her grades were poor. When she got sick, everyone else went to the hospital, but she stubbornly refused, as her father had never allowed them to see a doctor. The disparity in her life made Tara want to give up at one point. She told her father over the phone that she didn't expect life there to be so hard. But to her surprise, her usually stern and stubborn father gently encouraged her this time, giving Tara the courage to stay on. Tara's class notes were always a mess and meaningless. With her deskmate's explanation, she realized the importance of the textbook and that her poor exam results were due to not studying it properly. Once she understood, Tara picked up the textbook she had long abandoned and studied it carefully. It turned out that reading the textbook was excellent advice, and her grades improved rapidly. By summer, to earn her tuition, Tara found a job. But her father wanted her to return to the mountains to work for him during the summer. But when summer ended, her father didn't have enough money to pay the promised wages for Tara's summer work. The money he had only covered half of her tuition debt. To save money for tuition, Tara worked multiple part-time jobs and, reluctantly, sold her favorite pony. But it still wasn't enough, so she had no choice but to sell her blood. Fortunately, the pressures of life turned into motivation for Tara. Academically, she studied like crazy and successfully scored full marks in her weakest subject, algebra. Every night, she studied until 2 or 3 in the morning. Under the dual pressure of intense academics and life, Tara's body couldn't bear the weight, and she often got sick. The most severe issue was a tooth that had cracked years ago, causing Tara unbearable pain. Fixing the tooth would cost $100 or $400, a sum that made Tara feel hopeless. Fortunately, luck smiled upon her. The bishop of her church, after learning about Tara's situation, proactively helped her apply for government aid for the poor. At first, Tara found this very shameful and hard to accept. But with the bishop's guidance, and after a complex internal struggle, Tara finally accepted the government aid. She also began to realize the benefits of money, finally able to consider things beyond financial concerns. By her junior year, after prolonged hard work, Tara's grades had become outstanding. By chance, under the guidance and help of Dr. Carey, Tara applied for a study abroad program at Cambridge University. Although she didn't initially get through, Dr. Carey secured an opportunity and a spot for her. At Cambridge University, Tara's tutor was the renowned Professor Jonathan Steinberg, a former vice-chancellor of Cambridge. After learning about Tara's past, Professor Steinberg meticulously taught her writing skills. A month later, Tara took 2 weeks to write an excellent paper, which Professor Steinberg called one of the best he had seen in his decades of teaching at Cambridge. This astonished Tara, who had been prepared for rejection. For Tara, who had grown accustomed to enduring any cruelty, praise felt like a poison. Later, Professor Steinberg told Tara that if she applied to graduate school, he would ensure her admission to any university she chose. He asked if she preferred Harvard or Cambridge, but the self-doubting Tara immediately declined, thinking she couldn't afford the tuition. But Professor Steinberg said, "Leave the issue of fees to me." In late August, as the program ended, at the farewell dinner, Tara seemed present yet invisible. Seeing this, Dr. Carey once again counseled Tara, saying, "You act like you're pretending to be someone else. It's like you think your life is all a facade." He hoped Tara could shed the disguise and be her true self. Before leaving, he said, "The most powerful factor in deciding who you are comes from within." This statement left Tara standing by the church, stunned and motionless. After the program ended, Tara returned to Brigham Young University, and the campus looked the same as before. For Tara, forgetting Cambridge and returning to her life here wasn't difficult, but Professor Steinberg, who greatly admired her, was determined not to let her forget. He sent Tara an application for the Gates Cambridge Scholarship. It would provide full funding for Tara's studies at Cambridge, including tuition and living expenses. Thus, Tara got the opportunity to continue her studies at Cambridge University and pursue a doctoral degree. Later, through her efforts, she also received a visiting scholarship to Harvard University. But studying across the ocean meant being farther from home. Her relationship with her family seemed to be torn apart by this physical distance. Gradually, the educated Tara found her conflicts with her parents and family growing. When her previous beliefs were overturned and she left the religious and twisted environment of her original family, Tara felt very conflicted. She didn't know how to choose between the reality of education and familial love. Under the influence of these emotions, Tara nearly failed to complete her dissertation on time during her doctoral studies. The emotional neglect and lack of love caused Tara to develop bipolar disorder. She felt lonely and helpless, as if she were sinking into a bottomless abyss. Tara gradually understood the harm that the authoritarian masculinity of her brother and father had on her and her family. Her accusations against her brother Sean and her defiance of her father intensified family conflicts. Her sister and mother's indifference and inconsistency made her feel betrayed and isolated. At this time, she seemed to be the original sinner and the problematic person destroying the family. With her family collectively pushing her away, Tara developed self-doubt and denial, leading to mental instability, like she was suffering from an illness that blurred reality and fantasy. In this state of madness and schizophrenia, Tara's doctoral degree was also at risk. Fortunately, her brother Tyler stood up. Facing the risk of severing ties with the family, Tyler still chose to stand by Tara. He grabbed Tara's hand as she sank into the abyss and pulled her to shore. Later, Tara voluntarily sought psychological counseling, gradually returned to focused reading and writing, and finally submitted her doctoral dissertation on her 27th birthday and passed the defense in December that year. After 10 years, Tara seemed to have undergone a tremendous transformation. Her educational journey was brilliant, her appearance changed, but Tara remained Tara. She fully accepted her decisions, no longer harboring old grievances. She stopped weighing others' sins against her own. The story ends with Tara living in a twisted family, filled with fanatic religious beliefs and domestic violence until she was 17. The distorted ideas and habits her father instilled in Tara over 17 years did not vanish with her good education, but lingered like ghosts in every corner of her life, making it impossible for her to continue her studies normally and trapping her in mental self-enslavement. Ultimately, with the help of teachers, classmates, friends, and her brother Tyler, Tara gradually broke free from both physical and mental enslavement, completing a true journey of life education. The most crucial factor in this journey was Tara's own resilience, independent thinking, and the courage to break away from her past. Tara uses her personal experiences to convey the importance of education to readers. Education enables people to learn the most basic survival concepts and perspectives on things, thus gaining different viewpoints and understanding different people and histories. Tara's comparison of life before and after receiving education highlights that education is a golden key that can open the doors of life for people. When you use education as your wings and soar like a bird, you will eventually reach your own mountain peak.